Welcome to HR Talk, where this week we'll be discussing career management. I'm joined by Angela Barron, the CIPD's OD and Engagement Advisor, to talk about this issue. Hello, Angela.
Hello.
The CIPD is calling on employers to recognise the importance of career management in building engagement and sustainability within organisations. So, Angela, why is effective career management so important to organisational capability?
Well, when we did our research on shaping the future, looking at what are the drivers of sustainable organisation performance, we found that it's important to understand what people actually engage with, because people are mostly engaged with the jobs they do. So having interesting, satisfying work to do is a big driver of employee satisfaction engagement. That therefore elicits what we tend to call discretionary behaviour for people, a willingness to perform above the norm, above the average, to do a bit more in their job. And of course that can be converted into organisational success. So actually then that led us to think, well, how do we direct people into acquiring the kind of skills, experience that they need to be able to access interesting and stimulating career opportunities? How do we support people to make sure that they don't go down career cul-de-sacs, that they're actually developing the skills that the organisation, or other organisations indeed, are going to be able to use in the future, which is why we designed this particular project and looked at this particular issue. Now, what we found, when we started investigating, is that actually lots of organisations have become quite focused on talent management, looking at their talent pools and developing their talent pools, making sure they've got sufficient numbers of people to move into particular jobs, etc. And as a result, they've tended to neglect the kind of support, the one-on-one support that perhaps might have been provided in the past to support people to think about their own careers and how they're going to manage them. And very much the responsibility for that has passed on to the individual. Now, one little interesting fact that came up in the research is that only about 3% of individuals told us that they were getting any career management support at all from their employers, but far more employers told us that they were actually supplying it. So clearly, there may be an issue that people are not even recognising the support that they're getting from employers, which is a factor. And as a result of that, the vast majority of people are relying on friends and family for their career advice. And of course, that career advice is going to be coloured by those individuals' expectations and experiences of the labour market.
And where does the responsibility lie for employee career management and support?
Well, when organisations were actually supporting employees, mostly that was being done through the line manager, which is great, and clearly it's the line manager that's in day-to-day contact with people, has got the strongest relationship with people at work. So that's probably the right place for it to be delivered. However, unfortunately, only about 10% of those organisations that were delivering support in that way also told us that they were training their line managers to do it. So obviously, if line managers haven't got the support and training to deliver career advice, and crucially, if the time they need to deliver that career advice isn't reflected in their job role, then there's some issues around the quality of advice that they're able to give to people. So there's some issues there about training line managers and encouraging them to understand how they manage their own careers and to look across the organisation to understand how they can communicate to the people they're managing what opportunities might be available within that organisation and steer them into the right development paths to do that.
Young people entering the jobs market post-recession will be worried about their potential for career progression. What can employers do to tackle this?
Well, yeah, you're absolutely right. And we certainly identified quite a lot of pent-up frustration in the jobs market, where not that many people said they were expecting to move jobs in the next year, but quite a lot were hoping, particularly young people, were hoping to move jobs in the next 5 years. And mostly that was to get, better pay, promotion, but mostly it was to get more job satisfaction. There were indications that there were a lot of young people who've had to take a job just for the sake of getting a job, if they're lucky enough to get a job, don't necessarily as yet feel that they're right on the right career path. However, there was also a bit of a mismatch between what employers are saying in terms of the expectations of young people and what young people themselves are saying in terms of their expectations of a career. And it would appear that that young people are willing to learn. They do accept that they're perhaps not entering the jobs market, particularly job ready, they realise that they've got to do some on-the-job training, some learning, and they're willing to do that, and they're actually willing to sacrifice a little bit of career progression for some developmental experiences. So primarily in a job, they are looking at how am I going to be developed, what career opportunities are going to be open to me, and how am I going to be able to progress my career and develop myself into a role which I'm going to find interesting and stimulating.
How good are HR professionals at managing their own careers and therefore helping others to do so?
Well, fortunately for HR professionals, the CIPD has its profession map and a number of tools on the CIPD website, which hopefully they can access and think about how they can manage their HR career, what skills they've got, what skills perhaps they might want to develop depending on how they are intending to manage that career. But it's not really the job of the HR professional to manage people's careers for them. Obviously, the responsibility for career management has to rest with the individual, and that's where it's gone. And that's absolutely right, because individuals need to make their own choices about what they want to do, what kind of jobs they want to do. But in terms of developing, upskilling the workforce, utilising skills effectively, trying to close the productivity gap, engaging people, because people having access to engaging, interesting work is such a driver of engagement, that I think there's a real role for organisations to think more carefully about how they manage careers.
Angela, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
That's all we've got time for this week, but until next time, take care.